recently there was a film that kind of became very popular in Kannada, which is the Kantara, that movie I was seeing. And I very much liked it. There were certain scenes they were showing in that film where the protagonist of the movie, he hears certain things, okay? And there's the approach of the deity when it comes, he hears certain, like the sound of jewelry, etc., etc. So those are all typical signs of when the Kundalini is awakened to the higher planes, etc. Something in the last 15-20 minutes of that movie is beyond acting. It was like what is called is a term we use called avesham, where the deity enters into an individual, and that is part of the sadhana. Ambition in the spiritual field is perfectly all right. Greed is not. That's one thing that happens in the material plane very often, which is that I want it quickly, in double quick time. I'll use whatever methods I want, and I am greedy about it. Greed, dishonesty. You will not survive in the spiritual realm. You will fall faster than you can, because the beings you are dealing with, they know you inside out. They know you better than your parents know you.
The first episode that we created with Rajarshi Nandy sir was a blockbuster. It was all about the basics of Tantra. It was all about the occult. I do recommend that you should watch or listen to that episode before you head into this one. This one's even darker, even grittier. It's a 2-part special because the information was kind of too overloaded for just one conversation. Spoke about lots of different concepts on this one. If you're not willing to witness the entire episode, make sure you check out our highlights channel, TRS Clips. All the highlights are uploaded already. What I will definitely say is Rajarshi Nandy sir has a lot to offer in order to educate us about the occult. The questions I asked him, I've asked lots of other guests, but very few could answer it in the way that this man did. For more conversations just like this, make sure you follow TRS on Spotify. We're Spotify exclusive. Every episode's available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. Before I let you slip into this dark episode, I just want to mention that our meditation app, Level, is now live in the App Store and the Play Store. Links given down below. You'll earn a 1-week free trial if you use this link. Lots of love to you guys. Thanks for the support. Lots of more power-packed episodes are coming up. But for now, pause your mind, make yourself still, and take in everything that Rajarshi Nandy sir has to offer on this gritty episode of TRS. Rajarshi Nandy sir, welcome back to TRS for what I would like to believe is a sequel episode of the extremely powerful episode that we created the last time.
Mm-hmm.
It was electric. Like, that's how I'll describe the last one. How do you look back upon that one?
Oh, it was wonderful. Okay. Wonderful.
This is a recurring theme on the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that honestly, the show gets some amount of criticism for that. We talk about ghosts, higher beings, divine beings, aliens, angels. But my take on that is human culture is about 3 lakh years old, possibly older than that. Things like this have been spoken about for millennia. We're just trying to revisit those conversations. So it's not to prove to people that ghosts exist or don't exist. But where do you actually begin this conversation from a tantric perspective? Let's just try getting a deeper understanding of it. So where would you like to begin, sir?
Right. So the first, the way I look at it and the way traditional Tantra Shastra and Tantrapasana looks at it is that just like there are millions of people, I don't know, 6-7 billion people in the world right now. So this is the physical plane we are existing in. Okay, this is the earth is the physical plane. Beyond that, there are stacked layers and layers of reality. There are subtle planes going up to the realm of the gods, and then beyond the devatas, etc. All the realms are there. So in those realms also there are many types of beings. Okay, and because there are innumerable beings, just like innumerable human beings, some of them are very high caliber spiritual beings. Some of them are average beings. Some of them may be not spiritual at all. Some of them may be of the kinds who are, to us, they appear negative in their behavior, in their mannerisms, etc. So it is a fact. There's no question about. If you ask me that do they exist, it's like asking me, does gravity exist? It exists. What you do with it, that knowledge or not. And the other thing is that I believe that denial is also not a good idea, that okay, I don't believe in it. No. In fact, I remember once during a conversation with a friend, I was telling that it's far easier to experience one of these entities than to experience a deity.
And again, you'll have to do a recap on what deity means.
So deity is basically a divine being, a god, whom we worship as one of the great gods in Hinduism, who is capable of acting as a personal, as a figure of personal reverence for an upasaka, as well as each of these gods are capable of manifesting the full domain of full range of spiritual abilities. What is there till the highest? They can become transcendental. They can also come down into the form of a murti, and we worship them. It's their benevolence towards the human race, towards us, our culture, and the whole of dharma is basically how do we interact with these gods. Okay, so that's what.
Hinduism describes the being as having three parts: a sthula sharir, a sukshma sharir, and a
Karan sharir.
karan sharir. So that's basically your physical body, your astral body, and your causal body.
Yes.
What we know of each other and of regular life is that we see each other's physical bodies. I would like you to explain, according to Tantra, what an astral body and a causal body is, because it's a great entry point into this world of higher beings.
Right. So, we exist in the physical body, but our astral bodies are also active at any given point. Active means it's still, we are functioning both through the astral body as well as the physical body.
Like in the movie Doctor Strange, they show him kind of getting out of his body. That would be a version of astral body.
So getting out is one, when you are taking the astral body out of your physical. But I am saying that even now, at this very moment, when you are interacting with the world, your astral body is also interacting. Why? That's because, very simply to understand, the physical body governs your physical existence. Okay, so astral body contains to bring it down to the basic ideas. So your emotional life, what you are, okay, you're emotionally, you feel happy, you feel sad, somebody you like, you dislike, all that processing is done in your astral body. It's your physical body does not do that.
I also once read that the astral body is responsible for illness as well. If something's going wrong in the astral body, then it manifests as illness in the physical body.
Yes, and so illness can manifest in physical also and astral also, but yes, astral also, definitely. So very often, in fact, illnesses, there is some manifestation in the astral. First it will come and then it will come to the physical.
I think, can you dive a little bit deeper into the word astral in the first place?
Yeah, so astral, loosely what the astral, I think the West understands by the term astral is something more than the physical plane, something above the physical plane, something more subtle than the physical. The only difference between that world and this world is we use the Sanskrit term sukshma. Sukshma means subtle. It's more subtle. Ours is gross. We have a physical body there. Okay. So in the astral world, you do not have this physical body, but you have an image of the physical body.
Like the image would look just like our faces.
Almost. Same. And the tendencies that you have, you like something, maybe you like this kind of food, this kind of clothes, this kind of conversations, this people, etc. The likes, dislikes, all that's also very much there in the astral.
What is the difference?
The difference is there's no physical presence. There's no sthula sharir. Sthula means physical. Gross body is not there. Your gross body, arms and legs is not there. Okay. So that allows you certain things. If you are able to control the astral body, you can move around in that. You can see beings in that. But yeah, all types of entities are there. Good, bad, everything is there. And it's large part of the various, what we call, in all religions for that matter, beings, whether they're slightly higher beings or slightly lower beings, etc. It's all things that are there in the astral plane.
I think in Islam there's jinns, and in Christianity there is aspects of Satan, like demons.
So yeah, demons and all things like that. Those are there. So the astral is also a wide term for, there are subtle layers inside the astral also. It's not about one uniform thing, because obviously a slightly higher kind of entity. Okay, for example, in let's come to our terms that we use in our scriptures. Okay, so say a being which is like a Gandharva. Gandharva is one of those beings who remain in those higher astral realms. Okay, who are excellent repositories of knowledge, any topic. Okay, and they're very good singers also. Okay, tremendous. Then there are something known as kinnaras. Kinnaras are fascinating dancers. They're the best of the dancers. And once in a while, in fact, one of those beings, when they incarnate on earth, they'll end up being absolutely stunningly powerful in that domain. They'll be
We'll come back to this, because these are other topics. So
yeah.
I still just want to dive a little bit deeper into this constitution of the body.
So these constitution of the body. So basically, there is the sthula sharira, which is this. Integrated with it. It's not, for most people, it's integrated, is your emotional body. Look at it that way. Emotional body is your portal to the astral world. Okay. Whatever emotions you feel, good, bad, etc., how you develop that. A lot of upasana, sadhana, when you're doing worship of a deity, you're trying to develop the emotional body. Okay. So that it becomes more steady. It has the capacity to take the energy of the deity. So this is what the astral realm is, and it contains, astral realm contains in the outside world higher beings and lower beings also, what we call bhoot, pret, pishach, things like that, negative entities and all that. They also inhabit the astral worlds. Okay, these things. In a way, in very, if I kind of dumb things down into a statement, the whole idea of heaven and hell, naraka and swarga that we have, is all in the astral domain. Everything, the higher realms of astral or lower realms of astral. And it's just like the world. There are, as I said, 7 billion, 6 billion people are there. So innumerable entities are there of all kinds. Some benevolent, some malevolent, some indifferent to you, just like that. It's just like the world. Okay. And you follow the same cautions. If you go out on the road, you follow the cautions of when you meet an ordinary person or an average outsider. Same cautions you will have to follow, perhaps more than that, if you were to traverse into these zones.
Like possibly going out at night is more dangerous than going out in the day.
Those times. So there are certain zones you would be careful of entering. And secondly, there are many things involved actually on this. So, but this is a domain you will have to pass through. You cannot bypass the astral, by the way. So if when you're trying to make a spiritual progress, what you're doing is your own energy, innate energy. We have a term for it. We call it Chit Shakti. Okay. It's a technical term that's used, Chit Shakti, which is the flip side of what is more popularly known as Kundalini. Okay. So basically, when your Kundalini is awakened through some practice, it is trying to pass through the realms. It's basically passing from the material realm, which is the gross world, into the astral realms. One after the other, it's going to cross.
You'll have to explain what Kundalini is.
So Kundalini is basically a hidden divine, very simply put, a divine energy that is there to a degree in every individual who's born. But for 99.99% of people, it remains in a sleeping state. As long as it is sleeping, you are functioning as a well-integrated individual. So how do we define an integrated individual? So you have friends, family, etc. You're speaking, you're rational, everybody likes you, all that. That is a well-integrated individual. Okay. The spiritual practice, whatever practice you do, whether you do yogas, kriya, hatha yoga, this, that, or even tantric upasana of devatas, it's trying to awaken this force, but not consciously. And there is a catch. And this is a very complicated topic actually. Once this awakens, it will start making a journey within you. That power will start awakening and rising within you through the deepest channel. There's a subtle channel. It's not a physical channel, mind you. It's a subtle channel.
It's a part of your astral body.
Exactly. It's called the Sushumna Nadi. It will pass. Nadi means a channel. It will pass through that. And as it goes, it will pass to various realms. One after the other, it will pass.
Which are all within you as we speak.
But also outside. See, this is important to understand. Not everything inside and outside. It's like just like a computer has ports. Okay. So just like that, your body has each of these so-called chakras, which do not have any physical presence, by the way. So these are confluence of various multiple nadis at specific points in the body. And they are points through which you can access various realms. Okay. Now, as Shakti arises inside you, it opens up this. Once it opens up, you are able to communicate or whatever, integrate with that. But there is and that is where this becomes risky, because as I said, the astral world is all types of things. So there, once it opens up is good. But what do you do after that? And that is where you will need solid guidance, because otherwise there are more people who fall down with these kind of experiences than people who integrate them properly in their life. And after this little bit of the Kundalini movement, when it starts, your normal life is going for a toss. First of all, your perspective of everything is going to change. That's like you can't deny, you will not be able to deny the reality. You are in the same room with the same set of friends, but what you are seeing, what you are experiencing, what you are hearing, your pancha indriya, 5 sense organs, they have the inputs that they get are slightly different from the inputs that other people are getting at the same space because of this. And I'm just dumbing it down very much to explain it to you because there are many complications in this. But more or less, as you go higher, as this Kundalini awakens, your access to the astral planes becomes stronger.
Okay, this is a great point you've mentioned, sir. Basically, it's like a brain has filters, which filters out a lot of stuff. Because if we
Perfect.
were able to see that stuff, we
Yeah,
would have lost our minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's around us now as we speak.
Yes.
But
yes.
your gross body consciously blocks it out because maybe your soul is not ready to experience those experiences.
Right.
Now, if you also begin to spiritually advance and you chase this process of making your Kundalini rise, those filters get removed from your brain.
Yes.
And then you're able to start seeing things. But you need to be mentally, spiritually ready to be able to see those things and experience those things. Otherwise, you'll lose your mind.
So here, just small interjection, because a lot of viewers will be seeing this. So the conscious aim is not, in my opinion, the conscious aim should not be to, I have to awaken the Kundalini, because that is disastrous. It's a power you cannot describe it. It only once it hits somebody, you'll realize it. It's tremendously powerful.
It's like an atom bomb inside your body.
Sort of. And it moves at the speed of your thought. Okay, this is faster than the speed of light, if you ask me. Speed of thought is faster than your speed of light. Speed of light is the physical phenomena and the physics and all that is there. In thought, right at this moment, you can reach the sun. Whereas light takes 8 minutes to reach from sun to here. Okay. It moves at the speed of your thought. And the other thing is, so conscious aim is not to awaken the Kundalini. Conscious aim has to be to reach the higher realms of divinity where you come to the Devata, who is all powerful, who knows, who is the Ishvara. Okay.
You mean connecting with God?
Yes, connecting with God, but I prefer to use the term Devata. Only reason is because in our culture, we look at it that way. So I may be connecting to Shiva, you may be connecting to Krishna, somebody, all of them are gods, by the way. When we use the term only God, there is one singular no. Each of these are equally gods. Okay, there's no difference about any of them. Only the path may be slightly different. So Shiva, you have to offer the Bel Patra, and to Krishna, you offer the Tulsi leaf. Okay, that's about it. But Kundalini is like a power that accelerates your path, and safely handling for individual is impossible. You'll need the grace of a very powerful guru to handle this.
Buddha, Mahavir, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, did these people also have a risen Kundalini? Because they're also human beings to begin with, and then they became evolved over the course of the lifetime, or they were born as already evolved beings. So was their Kundalini also risen according to you?
So two parts in this question as I see. One is that, did they have an awakened Kundalini? Absolutely. It doesn't matter what you call it. It is going to happen. Okay, whatever name you want to put to it. You may also not want to acknowledge it consciously. That is fine, because it's possible that some of the masters may not want, because if their divine mission was to spread the dharma to various, say the ordinary people, I want to inspire them to a specific kind of worship. You cannot introduce terms like Kundalini so easily there, because it's fraught with danger. So if I want to tell them that you do this particular text, say in the in Maharashtra, for example, Maharashtra, you have this great Varkari saints, great saints are there. So they introduce the Ganeshwari Gita to ordinary people who have with initiation, with devotion, they chant it, etc. So in that, if you were to introduce too much of, there is some reference to this in this text, but if you were to introduce too much esoteric processes, it's difficult for people to get it. So you do something, you say that, okay, let's not think about Kundalini, let's think about the Devata. Let's think about devotion to the deity. Let's think about how do I get closer to the deity.
Bhakti.
Through it, Kundalini will awaken also. It will happen in the background process.
Bhakti is blind faith towards the Almighty.
Yes. And you don't have to, purification of Bhakti is important. Initial stages, Bhakti will not be perfect. So you do processes. That is where the sadhana comes in. Okay. So that your Bhakti becomes more purer and purer. And as Bhakti becomes purer, that will trigger these things. So in one set question, if you ask that, did these people have Kundalini experiences? All of them. Tantra says that there's no spiritual progress is possible without a Kundalini experience. Whether you call it that or any other name you call it, it's going to happen. Okay. But a Kundalini is also, there are many nuances in this. Okay, in Kundalini awakening. And the other part of the question that you had, were they evolved? So there is some fitness of things, by the way, that is there. For very high grade of spiritual evolution, if a person has to have, then he or she must have had gone through lifetimes of tremendous preparation, practice, something like that. So those signs will already be manifesting from a young age. It is, let's put it this way, it takes lifetimes of effort. So for somebody who's very perceptive, if they see a child like that or something like that, they will figure out that this is. In fact, Bodhas, Vajrayana Buddhists have this system where the lamas, when they reach a very high state, so that they can continue their upasana, they ensure a specific kind of rebirth. They have the capability of doing that. And before death, they'll mention clues, okay, that I may be born here and this and that, signs will be there. And then there are occult processes. Occult means through oracular processes and other things. They find out that who is this incarnated Lama, what was he doing in his past life. And then from a very young age, they will take him into the monastery and start training him back into the practices which he was doing. Okay, so that it kind of saves time, and they're very good at this. They have been doing this for centuries, etc. So in a way, yes, some fitness is there. It may not be that you are born with a Kundalini awakened. Some fitness is there. You still have to go through the process. You have to do. No one is going to serve you a full plate of food and just eat. No. So you have to still struggle, and that's specifically for those great saints who come for what in Sanskrit we call as lok kalyana, which is helping the masses. So they have to show that how they have had to struggle for this. It's not that I was born with it. So then people will say you were born with it. What will I am not born with it. Why should I do it? It won't happen for me. But they say no. It has happened through practice, through the process, through following this path. So if it has happened for one, it may happen for you also. So you do that.
Let's also talk about the downside to having a Kundalini that rises too early before you're ready for it. I've heard all sorts of stories, but what's the spiritual truth about this? Do you actually lose your mind? Can you get some sort of a brain stroke? I've read things like this.
Yes. And it can be very, very dangerous. And in fact, there is a term that is used sometimes to refer to this. It's like the lightning creeper, Vidyut Lata. It's like a lightning. As fast as it rises, it can make you fall that fast into a condition worse than that when you started. If it happens unrestricted. Unrestricted means out of the blue, it kind of happens. Sometimes once in a while, there may be cases somebody have had an accident or something and suddenly that it gets triggered. Obviously, if a triggering happens to an accident, that means that some lifetime they must have practiced it. Without practice, it's not going to happen.
An accident means what?
I've seen cases like this. Just like that, an accident see, what is the Kundalini? You have to understand a little bit more, which is basically, it remains for average human being, it's sleeping. It's completely sleeping. But suddenly when it awakens, it requires a triggering state. It's not going to happen if a comfortable lifestyle is going on. That trigger may be through stress, through pain, through something like that, through intense spiritual practices, or if you are Arjuna in the battlefield, suddenly the realization comes to you that you are going to kill your relatives. You can't do that, so you are running away. So that's a stressful condition of the mind. Okay, so you have to get out of the normal zone. Normal comfort zone has to be lost. So sometimes it may happen in the case of just a sudden accident or something has happened, and in that state, it got triggered automatically once in a while. Okay, I'm not saying it's very common, but happens. So there it will be very difficult to integrate because you don't know what to do with it afterwards. It's very difficult. It's like suddenly portals may open up and suddenly you must start seeing things, etc. Most people will put you straight into a mental asylum. Doctors will put you into medicines. You will not know what to do. And on top of that, if your belief system does not support this, then you are even more screwed. There's nothing, no help.
So you think there are people currently in mental asylums who have an awakened Kundalini?
I can't say, but possibility is there. I'm not saying that every person who is
in a mental asylum
has an awakened Kundalini, but there's a possibility that if you take 1,000 people like that from mental asylums who are completely raving mad, it's possible that a few of them actually have had a Kundalini disaster.
And you're saying once it rises, it stays?
No, to make it stay, to make it rise safely, smoothly, that's where all the sadhana processes come in.
Okay, so all these people who get it done by accident, but they're not spiritually ready, what does the actual reality become? What do they see?
You cannot put a single definition to it. It depends on the individual. That's why I said that Kundalini is one term or an umbrella. The way it arises in an individual is not going to be the same for everybody. There will be subtle differences. For some people, they may start your indriyas, which is the 5 senses through which you operate in this world, may suddenly become very sharp, or one or two of them. So you may start hearing things, you may start seeing things, you may start smelling things, and that's very common, by the way. I don't know if you have, recently there was a film that kind of became very popular in Kannada, which is the Kantara, that movie I was seeing, and I very much liked it. There were certain scenes they were showing in that film where the protagonist of the movie, he hears certain things, okay, and there's the approach of the deity when it comes, he hears certain, like the sound of jewelry, etc., etc. So those are all typical signs of when the Kundalini is awakened to the higher planes, etc., etc. So these are okay experiences. In the negative side, it may certainly open you up to astral planes where there are all sorts of dangerous entities, and you will get scared. You'll lose your sleep. You'll lose your mind.
You're a Tantra practitioner,
Yes.
and you just highlighted Kantara. I want to know this angle, like that you're an actual Tantra practitioner. And for those of you who are tuning into this podcast for the first time, you need to check out the first episode to understand Rajarshi sir's experiences. What did you like about that movie? I've not seen it yet, and I intend on seeing it. But everyone from entrepreneurs to mainstream Bollywood to people like yourself are talking about this movie. Why is that movie special?
Oh, because something in the last 15-20 minutes of that movie is beyond acting. It was like what is called as a term we use called avesham, where the deity enters into an individual. And that is part of the sadhana. It will happen everywhere. Whatever deity you are worshipping, the higher ranges, the deity will enter. And this phenomenon happens across India in Hinduism. Okay. And it's not even a new thing. In villages, it happens. You'll see whether you go to the foothills of the Himalayas. In Bengal side, we have a term we call bhorha. Bhorha means deity taking possession of you. So possession is not, the Abrahamic idea of possession is that it's a negative thing. For us, no. Possession can be a divine thing. In fact, one of the oldest texts mention that a man gets liberated when Shiva possesses a person. A deity can possess you. And as I was saying, your highest state of upasana is when the deity is inside of your body. Okay, then who are you? That's the big question. Are you Ranveer? Are you the god? Okay. So this is a very Hindu concept. This is on this lies so many things, concepts of our upasana. And in that movie, in the last part of it, there is the main devata who's whatever is the storyline, etc. And he has a Kshetrapala. And the Kshetrapala possesses the protagonist, and he fights against certain enemies. That scene that is there, it cannot be acted. There is some shift in the energy very clearly. And later I read, I was curious that how did he do it? So I read some interviews and all that. And he actually stopped eating non-veg food 20 days before that movie. And those last few days, he survived on coconut water. And he had help from people who are more advanced upasakas of that path. So they told him what to do. It's like he enters into that zone, and that energy gets transmitted into the screen. That's why people, once they see it, after that, when they're alone, even in front of the group, they may say, oh, okay, it's just a movie. But once they're alone, it hits you. Hits you that, what is it? What did I say? It's the same thing that will happen. If you're a non-believer, you'll run away from it and you'll say, oh, it's just superstition. I don't want to think about it. That's the way of protecting your mind from reality, of that kind of a liminal reality. And if you're a believer, you'll just fold your hands and say, what did I see?
Okay. Without giving any spoilers, can you give the plot of the movie a little bit for people who've not seen it? And we have international listeners as well.
So the plot is very simple. It's a conflict between a village and certain government officials who want to, it stays in a forested area inside, sometimes in interior Karnataka. And basically there are there's a king who used to live there. And the king one day decided that I want to go out in search of peace. So he goes out and he finds two devatas. One is Guliga Deva, who is basically a Kshetrapala, protector of that village. And then there is another boar, like a deity, like a boar. Okay, like we have Varaha Avatar, which is Vishnu's avatar. Similarly, he's called Panjruli Deva. Okay, so those are the two local manifestations of the devatas. And he tells them that he feels very peaceful when he comes in front of them. And then there's an oracle. Oracle means somebody in the village who gets possessed by the deities and he speaks for the deities. So he tells him that you can take the two devatas, devatas manifest in a stone, just the way we do Murti Upasana, same way. You can take them, you'll have tremendous peace. But in return, you'll have to ensure that the village is given to the villagers, this land is given to the villagers, and they are not disturbed, etc. So he takes it, he says that, okay, I promise, make a promise. And then the gods tell him that if you break this promise, or later generation anybody breaks this promise, then the Kshetrapala is not going to leave you. So if you make a promise to a deity, it's a very serious matter. It's not like human beings. Then eventually the movie goes into that there are later generations of that individual who wants to, he's dead. Then a few generations later, they want that forest land back because it's very high priced, they can sell it and things like that. That lends into a conflict with the villagers. So this is how does this conflict gets resolved is the movie. While in the process, the main protagonist of the movie, he is somebody who belongs to a family of these priests who gets the devata, the avesham of the deity, and he tries to run away from his destiny. He doesn't want to do that. The movie shows that he has no interest in it. Everything else he is doing in his life, but the moment he's asked to do that, he says, no, I don't want to do that. Okay. But the deities are like this. He has a chosen destiny. So the devata keeps manifesting signs to him. There are dreams that are happening. He's hearing voices, etc., etc. Eventually, it brings into a culmination where he finally gets possessed by the deity. And in that state, it's beautiful. It's indescribable how that last few scenes come out in the movie. Okay. So that's why I think it's a wonderful movie.
And the spiritual concepts shown within the movie are based on actual tantra.
Exactly. Those are real concepts. He wasn't making anything up. That is precisely how Devata Upasana happens in Dharma. And by the way, this concept of being possessed is not at all a new thing by a deity. It's there from the Vedic times. It's there in the Mahabharata. It's there in various other texts. In fact, in the previous podcast, I was just referring to something. When you do a upasana of a devata, you do something known as nyasa, which is basically you place specific mantras in different parts of the body. Okay?
Yeah.
Why? Because you divinize the body. What happens if you divinize the body? You will have a little bit of avesham of the deity. In fact, as you go to higher...
What is avesham?
Avesham is possession by the deity. Not fully, but little bit. Little bit of possession by the devata of the energy of the deity will enter into you, and that energy will do the upasana through you. Your own effort is not enough to reach there.
Upasana is practice.
Practice. Any practice you are doing. So eventually at the higher stages, the person realizes that even his efforts are not his efforts. It is he or she whom he is worshipping, the devata, the god, whoever is. It's anugrah, blessings of the deity who enters into you, his or her Shakti enters into you and gets the practice done through you. And that happens through a mild amount of avesham, mild or more avesham, depends. That's the practice.
The director of the movie, Rishabh Shetty, has also come to the forefront, and he's kind of the mind behind this concept of Kantara.
Okay.
So I'm sure he had some idea about these concepts, and that's how he,
of course,
manifested it. But on a more spiritual level, is it the choice of the deities around us to have movies like that come to the forefront and concepts like this come to the forefront? Where were podcasts like this 5 years ago? I wouldn't have dared to do it as a content creator. Why do I dare to do it now? And we get deeply criticized for doing podcasts like this.
Right.
So I can feel Maya trying to pull me back. And then I can feel Tarama making me meet people like yourself.
I firmly believe, and it's absolutely firmly believe, there is some shift that has happened. Because this kind of a movie would be impossible even a few years ago for various reasons. Okay, not just impossible. I mean, when I think of it, so whatever news I get is from the newspapers. Obviously, I don't know any of these people. So they thought it will be some kind of a low budget, just okay film and run in the local people. How word of mouth it spreads like wildfire, then gets translated into Hindi and throughout. In Calcutta, I'm amazed that the show has been running for so long, and I see people at one of the shows, and after at the end scene, it's like organically there is people who are like folding hands and all that. I mean, then they will question, your rational mind kicks in and what am I doing? Because you are not accustomed to doing this. Because the moment you come face to face with a reality like this, I do believe that there is a tremendous shift that is perhaps coming in this country.
In the world?
I don't know about the world. I'm focused more on in this land. Okay. World, maybe. I don't know. I've never traveled outside India, so I have no idea. Okay. But here, yeah, definitely. There is some shift that is happening, as if some of the old gods are waking up. And when they get a thing done, they have one of these things. If a deity blesses a creative endeavor, be it a movie, be it anything, it will cause a tremendous the kind of reaction that you're seeing to the movie. No, it's cult following that I'm seeing. Cult following of the movie that is happening. This cannot happen only by. You can plan things. You can be the best director and the best actor and whatever, greatest creative genius. You cannot plan this reaction. It happens through transmission of the Shakti of the Devata. Somehow or the other, it got captured in the screen. And whoever saw that movie, it left an impression on the mind. And it has its own way of working. That's all we can say.
Do you think Tara Ma is blessing this podcast?
Why not? I mean, as I was saying, just before coming to this podcast, I finished Sadhana of Matara and it went very well. So I was very pleasantly surprised and very happy to see Vigraha of Matara here. So that's how, as I said, if the deities are happy, they'll always point you that, okay, I'm here, I'm watching you. It's like that.
Yeah.
It happens.
I wish there was a way for listeners and viewers to feel the energy in this room right now. Even Sanchit, Manjot are feeling whatever you and me are feeling right now. And this is not like a podcast experience we've had in the past. I feel the podcast itself has hit some new zone, not just through this episode, but some of the episodes we've recorded lately have just been much more intense. Keeping that in mind, so we spoke about India,
Right.
and then I mentioned the world. We had someone called Ambika Devi on the show.
Okay.
She is a Hare Krishna devotee.
Okay.
She's from Colombia originally.
Okay.
Her mother was a practicing exorcist
Okay.
and had dealt with Satanism, had dealt with depossessions, exorcisms, basically. She and her family actually had been affected by the things that she was curing the people
Okay.
from. So say if a demon, this is what Ambika Devi relayed on the show. And if a demon possessed someone, some negative energy possessed someone, her mom would go in, do the exorcism, and then those negative energies would attack the mom and the family of the exorcist. So Ambika Devi herself, while growing up, she had witnessed a lot of crazy things. She had seen figures in her house, etc., etc. On that same podcast, we spoke about another movie called Hereditary.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It's
Okay.
a very dark movie. I've watched a lot of horror movies in my life. Horror movies scare you, but they give you a bit of a thrill. This one stays with me even now. And I'm washing it off till today. Just the thoughts of that movie. It didn't have too many jump scares. Only the climax had a few jump scares.
Okay.
But just the whole plot, the concept it was based on was very creepy. And the way you talk about Kantara and how it's a coming to the forefront of positive energy.
Yeah, that's way.
Ambika Devi said that the actual stuff, according to Catholicism, according to Christianity, the dark aspects of Satan, all that, was legitimately shown in that movie. The way we have mantras in our country,
Right.
like our chants, there are satanic chants. And those satanic chants were put into that movie.
Okay.
And that movie spread like wildfire in a parallel way in terms of word of mouth, etc. So while we have positive energy rising in one part of the world, or maybe the world in general, is the negative energy also trying to rise and like pull it back down? And that's one part of the question. Secondly, I would like to talk about Satan in general. What does our country say about Satan, the devil, all that? Do we have a concept like that?
Okay. So the first part is that, so there is always going to be, when we're talking about the astral planes, there's always going to be both the good and the bad. Okay. Bad means those that cause harm. Now, those that cause harm, there's a very interesting thing you have to understand. They cause harm because it is their dharma to cause harm.
Their duty.
Your duty as a human being is your dharma. The god has, devatas have their own dharma. They have their own dharma. It's like you are asking that why is a tiger biting? Because that's the natural thing for it to do. This is his dharma. Okay. You are judging from your perspective that it's harmful for you. That's very good. But this whole process assumes that you are at the center of the universe. Human beings love to think that we are at the center of the universe. But these entities are, for various reasons, they behave in certain ways. There's no doubt about it. And yes, in even at a very global scale, I cannot say, because I really don't know if there is an awakening of the negative forces, these entities. But in general, it is believed that as Kali Yuga progresses, these things will start manifesting more strongly. Okay, there's no doubt in that sense, one way. And the other is that from a very, let's come down to an individual scale. So if you are practicing any kind of Devata Upasana, and your upasana is hitting the right notes, so you are going closer to the deity. As I said, there are realms of devotees. One is the straight, the nursery level. So no offense to them. That's all good, the way they are doing, etc. etc. And the one is that he's taken his upasana, the practice, to the level where he's coming close to the deities. There are innumerable entities who will straight away come and start putting problems in your path. And the deities will be aware, but he or she will not interfere.
Really?
Oh, yes. That's the test of your commitment.
Oh, how is it the test of your commitment?
That's because you have to pass through them. Test of your commitment means how serious are you? Because that realm, if you reach the realm of a devata, you are effectively not a human being anymore. The energy of the devata is inside you. So what does it mean not to be a human being? You are not affected by sorrow. You are not affected by depression. You are not, which is the standard thing for all of us. Okay, today it's good, as they very colloquial it said. Today it's summer, tomorrow it's winter. Those cycles are going on. It doesn't matter how good are you, how try, etc. Whatever you are trying, etc. To transform, go beyond that stage where you are unaffected by this, where you are effectively like a deity, a god staying among humans. That kind of a level you can reach in upasana. In our path, in dharma, that's very much possible. I'm saying the highest. I'm not saying everybody can reach there. But why do you think reaching there will be going to a smooth flow for everybody? Every bit of it will be tested, every step. And it's like this 100-meter or maybe those marathon races are there. I don't know how many kilometers and all that. Towards the last, say if it's 100-meter, 90-meter, it's fine. Last 10 meters, every step you'll be tested. And the deity will be fully aware that the testing is going on.
When you say testing because of these negative entities, on a very practical basis, what happens? They try attacking you?
They will disturb your practice, first of all.
Sexually?
A lot of things. Anger, lust, these are the two primary things.
They'll put anger and lust in your head.
So, yes, not only that, and not just head, bring you into situations where there'll be an easiest way to lose the energy that you build up through your practice is anger and lust.
When you say bring you into situations, you mean that these entities are also higher beings, so they are capable of manipulating reality a little bit.
Everything in the astral plane can manipulate reality. Everything.
The reality that we experience as human beings.
Absolutely.
Okay, just again for an example. So say you've been praying, you've been meditating, you're growing spiritually. Okay. And you go out to meet your friends. And then the place you're going out at, there'll be a sexually attractive person who comes to you and really is forward with you. So you'll be tempted to sleep with that person. That's a good example of what you're saying?
That's one example of that you're saying. What I'm trying to say. That's very much possible. So if you are, suppose, let's build on this example. So you are in the middle of a specific, what I was saying as an anushtanam. Anushtanam means you have already taken a sankalpa that, okay, I am doing this practice for the 6 months. Okay? Promise to the deity. And your practice is going really well. So right at that time, this kind of a societal environment suddenly gets created where you end up meeting somebody and you feel tremendously attracted towards that individual and you end up sleeping with that individual. And that specific practice, what you're doing, entails that you may have to maintain certain degree of celibacy during that period. So the moment you do that, your practice falls. And you will not get the result anymore. In fact, you may even fall, depending on what practice it is and more details of it, you may even fall lower than the condition that you were in initially.
Just by having sex once.
Depends. See, here is the thing. If you are married, so it depends. What I'm giving is a broad formula. It changes based on the devata you are doing, what practice you are doing. But more or less, unrestricted sexual activity is an easy way for downfall in the spiritual path. Unless you are very sure what kind of karmas that person has. Who is it that you are sleeping with? What is that person's tendencies inside? Because this is the easiest way to take karmic load from the karmas of that other person is through unrestricted sexual activity. Number 2 is anger. Anger is very, very, in one shot it throws away things. But here is another catch. Certain devatas, if you worship, deities, gods you worship, there will be an upsurge of anger because it is the nature of the deity. But there, it's a tricky situation. You have to control that. There are practice. That is why in the traditional field, traditional approach to the tantric upasana of devatas, there are parivara devatas, family of deities who have to worship. So each one has its own role. If you're worshipping Shakti Upasana tremendously, and you're going very deep into Shakti Upasana, say you're worshipping Ma Kali, for example, or Ma Tara even, for that matter. Our conception of Ma Tara, she's quite fierce. Okay, she's very fast and very fierce. It is naturally going to cause some amount of increase in aggression. I know just day before I was somebody who does Upasana. I know her for quite some time. So she had mailed me this exact thing was this, that she has been worshipping one of the Mahavidyas, and a very simplistic worship, not even the complicated worship, but she does it very diligently and beautifully she does it. But there's an increase in anger, tremendous, and a detachment from everything. Okay, that's what the deity is. You are in the same situation, same house, same people, but suddenly you're a little bit more, you're there, but you're not there. The part of you comes out of you and it looks at your own life and everything, and you see that, okay, these are my friends, these are my families, these are everybody. But this is because nature has created the circumstances. Maybe in next life they may not be there, or maybe some other equation will be there. Either way, but there is also the increase of anger that happens. And there it is important to calm that down. One of the ways to calm that down, that is why in Shakti Upasana, worship of Shiva becomes very important. To do Abhishekam of Shiva, properly done, regularly, calms down the mind, calms down lot of energies. He is the ability to digest anything. He is Mahadeva. That is why he is Mahadeva. He can digest everything and he can still remain unaffected by it.
It's a lot to absorb, but I have so many questions about Satan, especially after watching that movie. Just curiosity. And specifically, without giving too many spoilers away about Hereditary, it was about one of Satan's servants. He has, I think, 7 demons, which are not to be mixed with 7 sins. It's 7 servants of his. And the way we pray to deities, like how you spoke about Shiva and Shakti right now, you're supposed to pray to one of the demons for that demon's particular abilities.
Okay.
I'm not even going to take the name of the demon, though it's in my head. And every time it's in my head, I wash it off with one of our mantras. It starts from P. And it was such a creepy movie. You could feel the presence of that particular demon in that movie in scenes. The way you spoke about Kantara, and you said that maybe the deity possessed the hero.
Right.
Here you can see within the acting of those actors that it's not them doing it to a certain degree. Like I was trying to show Sanchit the movie and he just stopped watching the first 10 minutes. He was like, I'm not going to see this. And it's not even scary the first 10 minutes, but you feel the creepy shadowiness of it taking over you. Earlier, I used to recommend the movie. I don't recommend that people watch the movie after speaking to Ambika Devi. What is this whole side of things, sir? And does Hinduism have an equivalent of this? And when we say that particular demon, let's call it P demon.
Okay.
P demon. That's not a joke. But when you worship these things like P demon, I'll tell you the Christianity aspect of it. They say that initially it will give you a lot of the things you want, your material wishes, but it takes something in return. And if you don't obey it enough, it comes after you. It makes your life hell. It gives you scary experiences, painful experiences. There are also then lots of conspiracy theories attached to it, saying that a lot of the materially successful people in the West have prayed to either one of these demons or Satan. Again, this is not my input or a reality that I vouch for. These are all conspiracy theories. It's just things I want to discuss.
Okay.
So, what's your opinion on all this?
Okay. So, from our perspective, I can only speak from what... Though I do have some experience I've had some experience with Western occultists too. Even before I fully entered into Tantrapasana, I knew quite a few who were very powerful. But that's different matter. But
do they do like a Western version of Tantra?
No, they have their processes. I won't call it Tantra because Tantra is Devata Upasana. It's just the colloquial understanding that has mixed it up with all sorts of Kala, Jadoo and black magic. And no. Tantra is Devata Upasana. Tantra is Shiva, Shakti Upasana.
You pray to God.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what. It's a method of praying. That's all.
And this is where I feel the West gets it wrong. They look at all these things as paganism without understanding that there's a very stark difference here.
That's there. Plus, they're looking at it as paganism starts at a very ancient time. So that is not going to get rectified. That is there. So I believe our culture, Hinduism, for example, is the last of the classical religion surviving. Everything else has been gone, taken over by the standard idea of anti-pagan or Abrahamic concepts. All the other cultures that were like us, they're all gone. Only Hindus are the last surviving classical religions. Okay, so we classical religions had a typical format like this, all of them. Anyway, so coming to the Hindu Dharma, there are negative entities. There are realms of negative entities. Okay, there are bhutas, which are spirits. There are pretas, which are angry spirits. Okay, then there are pishachas, which are very malevolent kind of entities. Very malevolent. If one of them comes, God forbid that anybody even comes into contact with any of them, it's destructive to the power infinity. Okay. Then there are Rakshasas, which are like Ravana was a Rakshas, okay, who Lord Rama had defeated. Then beyond the Rakshasas, there are also the Asuras. Asuras are extremely powerful negative entities, highly intelligent. It's said that Asuras are, in fact, Sri Aurobindo has some beautiful writings on these negative realms also. He has written tremendously on all aspects. So Asuras are those kind of entities who do tremendous amount of tapasya, by the way. Their capacity for spiritual practice is far more than an average human beings. So what they end up doing is that they will worship one of these great gods that we have. Shiva, Shakti, Brahma, some of the great gods, except much higher up. So they worship them, attain boons and blessings and powers, and then they use that power to do negative things because they use it in the service of their ego. A saint, when he's worshipping a deity, he loses his ego. His ego is gone. He becomes one with the devata. He's like his devotion becomes that high caliber, etc. But here what they do is that they attain those blessings from the gods. And they can, because they are capable of tremendous amount of tapasya. Tapasya is penance. The penance the Asuras can do, humans can never think of it. And then after getting that, one of the typical things they do is that they try to cause havoc everywhere. Okay, because they want to usurp things, take things for themselves. So our Shastras mention one of the first things Asuras do is that they stop the yagyas to all the gods. So once they get the blessing, and one of the typical blessings they ask for is that nobody can defeat me, no human, no god, nobody can defeat me. So the average gods who are there, the other gods who are there, they can't, once the blessing is set into motion, they can't do anything. But inside that blessing, there'll always be some catch for their fall, somewhere. But regardless, that catch is not going to manifest immediately. So for a long period of time, they are going to reign supreme, that Asura, okay? And he will wreak havoc in the divine realms and everywhere, and etc., until finally one of the great gods, be it Shiva or Vishnu or Shakti, somebody or the other, will decide that enough is enough. Then they will incarnate and they will destroy the Asura.
And this can happen even in 2022?
Oh, yes. Only difference is that, what I feel personally is that the Asuras are too powerful. They don't need to incarnate. During the Mahabharata, there were incarnations of Asuras, by the way. Lot of them. In fact, in the Mahabharata, there's a beautiful part before the Yuddha actually happens, the war actually happens. So the Duryodhana, who's the head of the Kaurava army, who's the Duryodhana, he is taken, and the Asuras actually, the Rakshasas and the Asuras and the negative beings, they tell him that do not worry about anything. You just enter the battlefield. Our forces are going to take possession of the bodies of your warriors, and they are going to fight for you. And their powers are much higher, okay, than the average human being. Okay, so we are there with you. They're like telling him that just go ahead. Victory is yours. We are fully there. And the name even that this Asura is going to enter into the body of this warrior and this warrior and this warrior and this warrior. Okay, because that the other side is Lord Krishna is there and the Pandavas are there. Okay, they're also great, fantastic, superb warriors. So that was an era. Still there was Asuric incarnations which used to happen. Asuras used to take the physical form. The men of that caliber were entirely different than what we have right now, spiritually, intellectually, in physical prowess, everything. Okay, exceptional caliber people. So the Asuras had to incarnate to fight them. Today Asuras don't incarnate so easily because the human the intellectual, spiritual, moral and physical stamina and strength of human beings is far lower. Okay, because of the general environmental corruption and various other things.
But are there some human beings who've attained such a high level of spirituality that Asuras have already gone inside them? And
Asuras influence people all the time.
Are there powerful and famous and rich people in the world today who are being influenced by Asuras?
Today I cannot say, but there's a very strong general belief, and I also believe that In fact, Sri Aurobindo had written that Hitler was possessed by an Asura. He used to get, in fact, he wrote a lot of things about it. And I'm just relaying what Sri Aurobindo had written about it.
There's a lot of talk about how serial killers, and there's so many Netflix documentaries made about serial killers.
Yes.
Many of them have said that I was being influenced by another being. That
Very
thing was
much
telling me to
possible.
kill all these people. And the moment they're jailed, they kind of have a reformation.
So, reformation and all, I don't know, but I'll give you a simple case. A few years ago, it had come out in the newspapers. I was in Delhi at that time.
Burari.
case.
The Burari case.
Exactly. So, what happens in that case? So, this gentleman, whoever that family is, one of the ancestors start visiting them and telling them various things, what to do, what not to do. They start following that advices, and they
Why did that ancestor start telling them in the
listen
first place?
to it first.
Yes.
So there it comes, ancestor comes and tells them, okay, do this, do that, etc. And they start making a lot of progress in their business, material progress for 2 years. 2 years it goes on. Fantastic progress they're making it. Obviously what happens, average human beings, you get greedy and you start believing in it. Then one day that entity who came in the form of their ancestor, okay, because these beings are very good at shape shifting. They can even pretend to be a deity, by the way. They're very good at this. Okay. So they can, he comes in and then says that, okay, I'm going to change your full destiny. All you have to do is just put your, neck, tie a thread, rope around your neck and jump. But you will not die. You'll have a rebirth. Complete. Everybody will live from there. And then magical things will happen, this, that, etc. Whole family does that and finished. So,
what happened to their souls, according to you?
They will enter a very negative state. They will go to a state which is lower than that entity which was influencing them, and for a very long time they will remain there until and unless somebody who's very higher or something takes pity on them and liberates them from there. If you take it might seem that if you these things, when you see, if you think about it in a very shallow manner, in a limited manner, you think that this is so unfair, right? They were tricked into it. But if you take a large enough time scale, you'll see that there's nothing that happens without some karmic link in some past life or somebody other. I know one instance here, and I had a friend who was an excellent exorcist. He was very good. He was not in India. I won't mention any details about him here. So he used to tell me, and because we had similar interests, and he was one of the very genuine people. So that's why my interest was there, because I normally, if there's not genuine, I lose interest and I move on. But he was very genuine. And he had equally a proper understanding of our systems. He was not Indian. He was a very good exorcist. So he used to tell me that when he sees a person, he sees if there is a spirit or something attached, anything, he sees them also. Okay. And at a young age, he used to see people roaming around. First, he used to think that everybody sees it. Then he saw that only he's able to see, and others can't see. Then he had a guru who taught him what to do and how to process this information into a meaningful manner. Okay, use it in a meaningful manner. So he told this very beautiful thing, and that is so accurate. It applies even to our systems also. Said that never does a possession happen without some karmic link in some past. There is some permission that entity has from nature in order to cause that harm. Because somewhere or the other, you might have harmed it. You will not remember. That entity will also not remember. So I said, then how do you bring a cure? He said that and in fact, he had sent me a lot of their occult texts and things to do, but I was not interested, because what we have is more than sufficient for us, I feel. This was more of just an intellectual curiosity, spiritual also, because he was very good. So that way. So so I told him, how do you deal with it? He said that his role was to primarily convince that entity to give up on its own, because if you apply force to remove, which can be done, then that is the beginning of another karma.
Oh
yes,
because you're interacting with
it. Nature has a law. Nature's law is nature is the biggest chartered accountant in the world. One left and right balance sheet is perfectly maintained. A possession can happen only if the one who is getting possessed had at some point done some activity which you may or may not remember, nobody perhaps remembers, in some past lifetime, to the possessing entity. So nature does a balancing act, you come back and you have a chance to do it. But the problem is that we don't remember anything. So we don't know that where the line is to draw. If you overstep that line, then also there is another beginning of a new karmic chain that happens. So this guy, what he used to do is that he used to try and and it's take time, 15 days, 20 days, 30 days sometimes, and convince that entity of its own to leave that being. And this process, by the way, happens here also. In India also, when a possession is to be removed, then very often it happens is that a mix of threat is given to that possessing entity, which is could be a bhuta, preta, or whatever, etc. Normally possessions are done by these only. Okay, a bit of threat, because you have the power of some blessings of some deity has to be with you. Otherwise, they'll not be scared of you. In fact, they're very nasty. Some of the nasty pieces of things that are there, the moment you sit in front, they know everything about you. Everything. Okay, whatever things you are doing in public, whatever you're doing in private, etc., and they see how much power actually you have. They see that you don't have power, they'll straight away blurt out something that is going to embarrass the hell out of you, and then they'll give you one gali and tell you, no, get lost from here. It's not your capacity to do anything. Okay. But if somebody is an upasaka of a deity and has a blessing of the devata, then they will not try all this stunts. Then they will be little bit more reserved in dealing with it. Okay. So anyway, there what happens is that those entities are told that, okay, you leave this person, in return we'll do you something good. Tell me what you want. Sometimes they may say that some issue has happened or something like that, or some my descendants are not giving me the offerings of to be given to the ancestors. Okay, or this person has done some negative to me when he was alive or something like that. So some resolution sometimes happens. So they say that, okay, I promise you. They extract a promise from that entity. You leave. Instead, I'll give, and in return, I'll give you XYZ, this. And once the entity says, okay, I agree to it, then they will leave. They are also, in a way, a bit not entirely like deities, but they don't have a physical form. So this is the process, one of the ways. So you basically tell that entity that you leave. But if you can force them out also, by the way. Forcing out has this only issue that you don't know what kind of karmic thing you're interfering in. And I believe the forcing out is to be done only when the exorcist has the blessing of a deity. Because a deity, proper blessing of a devata, if you have, and the deity has blessed you and you are tightly connected to the deity can take away the karma. The deity knows. So you don't do anything. You wait. The deity will inspire. Go and do this. Then it's not your responsibility. Then whatever karma is there, etc., the deity will take care.
In Christianity, with the priest exorcist, like how they shown in the movie The Exorcist, is the deity Jesus Christ?
The original Exorcist movie I had seen, I think they were invoking angels. I don't remember exactly, but I think they were invoking two of the archangels they have. Perhaps it was that.
Which is an equivalent of what we have in India, like where you say, oh, Ma, this Ma, that, like all the deities we have.
No, deities are not angels. Deities are more powerful than angels. What we worship as devatas are more powerful than angels.
Is there a Western equivalent of it?
No, that is because the Western religions have negated the concept of deities. They came in as more like a counter force to before they became more popular. Whether it's any of the Western religions, etc. So their original culture of the Greeks, original Roman culture, original Egyptian culture, they had multiple devatas. They used to worship multiple devatas. So these new religious currents came in and said that no deity. We won't accept any deity. We'll only worship one. So all deities had to be cancelled, rejected, removed, etc., etc. So how can there be a concept of a deity in that? So it is more of some people believe that let's put angels as equivalent. No, deity, devata, angels. Some of their angels could be very powerful. I'm not denying that, but they are also tied to those cultures. They will not come here so easily. Okay, so these,
like geographically.
No, these entities have ties to the kind of people who are worshipping them. They have the specific type of worship and they respond to that. Okay, so a specific kind of angel is there. If you just sit here and do some bhakti bhav and etc., it's not going to happen.
Okay. I wanted to talk about many other things on this episode, but because we've spoken about astral body, physical body, and now Satan, there's a couple of final questions for you, and then we'll do a sequel episode to this as well, where we'll expand upon all these entities a little more. The first question is an explanation of the causal body.
Okay.
Karan Sharir.
Karan Sharir.
So at the start of the podcast, we spoke about your physical body or your gross body, your subtle body or your astral body.
Yes.
How do you begin to explain to someone what a causal body is?
Okay.
What is a Karan body? And correct me if I'm wrong, sir. It's also present in us right now?
It's present in us, but it is completely inactive. So inactive
Okay.
means somebody who's, unless you are actually very deep into spiritual practices, you will not experience the Karan Sharir.
Experience the Karan Sharir means
It's like this. You have the Atman inside also, right? The soul, or what we call in the specific Hindu term we use, the Atma. But how many people have experienced the Atma? Experience of the Atma is very different.
have we experienced the astral body?
Astral body you are experiencing the moment you are experiencing any kind of emotion. It is very close to the physical. What is close to the physical you will experience very easily. These are very far off from the physical. These are very, very, very subtle. So subtle that unless you are consciously able to take yourself to that subtle realm, you will not so easily
Do we experience the astral body in our dreams as well?
Yes, very much. Absolutely.
Always, whenever you're dreaming, your
yes,
astral body is at play.
Yes. In fact, dreams are not. So dream analysis is another very, very beautiful topic.
Another podcast episode.
So yeah, more or less, during dreams, your astral body is fully active. That's where all the thing is playing out. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, everything.
Now, how do we begin to explain causal body?
Okay. Causal body, or the Karan Sharir as we call it, is the root, the seed of the karmas are planted there, from which you might have done at a very ancient time something.
Many lifetimes
ago. Obviously, you have no memory. Nobody has any memory of it. But it has kept some impression from there. From there, that matures and percolates down into your astral. By the time it comes to astral, already things are happening here related to that karma. Okay. So, second thing is that the causal body is in that state. If you are able to consciously attain to the causal body in yoga, in meditation, in tantra sadhana, and anywhere else, etc., by the time you reach that causal body, you are already beyond the astral. So there are no negatives in the causal body, in that realm of the causal body. No negative entity has the right to even enter into that realm. They don't have the capacity.
Correct me if I'm wrong, sir. So in Autobiography of a Yogi, which is my all-time favorite book, I've learned so much of spirituality from that book. There's an entire chapter that talks about the astral realm.
Okay.
So they say that when you attain enlightenment here, you gain access to the astral realm. So rather than being born again on our plane, you're born in a higher plane. But spiritual progress doesn't stop there. Even as an astral entity, you keep evolving until you earn the right to experience the causal reality.
Yes.
And the closest thing to explain a causal reality to a human mind is what you feel in REM sleep. REM sleep. Like when, sometimes you're very tired and you sleep, and the moment you open your eyes, it's morning and you're just feeling fresh. But that time in the middle wasn't even time in the first place. It was a causal reality. Is that kind of close?
Sort of. That's kind of broadly similar to the idea that I was trying to explain.
I'll let you take the reins.
Yeah, that's broadly similar to the idea. So causal body is not easy to reach, but it's where your true spirituality starts in a way. Okay. It is not a true spirituality. Astral also, there will be spiritual things possible. And there's a wide range of activity that is happening in the astral. But the causal is very detached. It is not connected to all the ups and downs of the astral realm. Okay. Or the positive, negative. The polarities that we see here is not there. And as I said, what we understand as the good, something we like. Okay, you like a painting, you feel good about it. You like a old friend who's meeting and you like good about it. Or you love somebody, you like good about this whole feeling of positive. And on the other side, just the opposite of it, you get scared, you see a movie, you don't like it, there's a nightmare, something like that. This range of positive, negative thing business doesn't happen in the causal. It's beyond that. It's even beyond to, for an average human being, imagine that there is there's something that's happening here. It's a reality. And then there is a world of imagination. In the imagination, you can travel to the astral planes. And then there is a world which is beyond your imagination. Understand this. Even you cannot imagine it. You don't have the capacity to imagine that also. It's so rare.
Like try thinking of a new color.
It's sort of, exactly. Very good example. So try thinking of a new color. It's very difficult. So it's something like that. But it's attainable through the practice of whether you do yoga or whether you do Tantra Sadhana or something like that, or whether whichever deity you are worshipping, they will take you one day to that realm. Okay, and you will see how terrific it is.
So all these sadhus that we see in the Himalayas, or even saints that we know of, Saint Tukaram, and anyone who was completely evolved in our earth. Okay? All these great saints of different religions. Did they only achieve access to the astral realm, or had they got access to the causal realm as well, or was there a mix?
I think there was a mix, but I think there were many saints who have gone to the causal realm. And beyond that causal also, there are realms where... So basically it's like this. If you go to a causal realm, and if you're permanently stationed, your consciousness is permanently... see, again, these are very loose words. The actual word is Chit Shakti is permanently stationed in the causal realm.
What is Chit Shakti?
Chit Shakti is the power that motivates you to do sadhana and everything, that animates you. Okay. So it's
the electricity of your soul. I don't know what.
So anyway, consciousness, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
So if your consciousness goes to the Karan Jagat, the world of the causal, and it stations there, you are like a god. Understand this thing. Our dharma says that in theory, if your practice is good, at the highest realm, you can divinize yourself to the level of a god. Now, and not just our main, not just the Vedic dharma, even in the Tantric religion, when the Shaiva Siddhantas came in, and not just the Shaiva Siddhanta, the Kashmiri Shaivism, which is one of the non-dual, beautiful versions of Shaiva philosophy from which Tantras derive, they mention this, that eventually you can reach, there are realms, tattvas, okay, 36 tattvas are there, changes that happen, etc. And you can attain to the condition of Sadashiva. Condition of Sadashiva. You will not become Shiva. Shiva is one. But you can have that, and you means one in millions. I'm not even saying that everybody can do it. One in millions and millions. But it is possible to attain to that level of consciousness.
In our lifetime?
It may take many lifetimes. All this thing is not going to happen in one lifetime. But while you're physically present in the human birth, beyond that is also possible. But there you have to, the body is too gross to hold that energy. You have to go beyond that.
Which is what happens to some great saints, where their souls just leave their body because they realize, now I want to go there.
Yes. And in fact, I very recently, that just again a tangent that came into my head.
Go for it.
I was once guided very brilliantly, amazingly, by a gentleman whom I never met, whose name also I did not know. I still don't know his name. But he was a Siddha Purusha. He was a tremendous Bhairava Upasaka.
What is Siddha Purusha?
Siddha Purusha, the word Siddha Purusha we use to describe these type of saints who have gone to the Karan Sharir and the Mahakaran, who have become like a Devata only, like a god almost. That we call a Siddha Purusha. It's beyond all ordinary conceptions.
The spiritual leaders we see in India today?
I can't comment on any, I don't want to comment on any individual.
I won't ask you any names.
But may or may not be. Some may be, some may not be. But I believe that if you go very deep into the Siddha Avastha, means the condition of the Siddha. Avastha means condition of the Siddha. You become Siddha Purusha. That level you reach, it's, to break it down, let's say 0 to 100. 100 is the maximum spiritual growth that you can happen. If you are up to 60, 65 only, you will already become pretty well known and famous. These days, to even 20% also becomes famous. That's a different matter altogether, in my opinion. Okay. But beyond 60, beyond 70, beyond 80, those who go, they normally do not, they keep themselves very wrapped. They will not come out in public so easily.
They are the people who are meditating far away in the Himalayas.
They may be in the cities also, but they'll make sure that your neighbor also does not know who he is. This gentleman whom I was talking about, he was a very powerful Siddha, very powerful Siddha. He chose his time and place and condition of death. He had the ability to do that. Okay. He chose that. And he had mentioned that when he's, what time is he going to die, where, and etc., where is, etc. And he wrote that that's because he's experienced all that is to experience in this life. Now he wants to go to the realm of the god whom he worships, Ishtadevata Bhairava, and he will continue his upasana there. Even better upasana will happen because the trappings of the human body are not there. Human body gets tired, it needs food, it needs rest. Okay, it has to go to the loo, various things are there. If you are if you go beyond the human body and if you can continue, that will be a wonderful experience. So
This gentleman, what do you think his childhood was like?
I have no idea, because I hardly knew anything about him, except that very strange manner he came into my life and he provided some invaluable guidance in certain upasanas I was doing.
Okay.
So I deeply respect him. I don't even know how he looks. I don't know his name. I don't know anything. I just know that communication used to happen this way, that I used to write a question I had to a friend. Friend is to go and give it to another guy who lived in a particular state. Then he would go into an interior village where he lived, go and ask this person. This person would say in his mother tongue, and then he will translate, and this process would take about 30 days for a question answer. But the answer was worth it. The answer that you would give, it's like, I was amazed, how the hell is he giving this kind of, he knew every details of what am I doing sitting in my puja room, how many hours am I sitting, what deity am I worshipping, how am I sitting, what changes are happening, what thought is flashing to my head. Suddenly he says that, one day he sends so and so date, you are doing something, and this particular thought came that you should do this mantra, but you did not do. Why did you not do? You should do it. Do on this, you do it, you will see this results. And the guy doesn't know. I don't know how he looks. I don't know what is his name. Nothing.
We've had a lot of monks who've come on the show. And one of the monks said that, people often think that monks are not ambitious people, but the truth is that they're the most ambitious people. They're so ambitious that they've left the material realm. And I'd understood it. I didn't think that I had the right to say the truth that you just shared on the internet. So I'm glad that you're shedding light upon these concepts. And this is why monks choose a monk's life.
Yes.
Or rather, this is why the monk's soul chooses that particular body for that journey.
Yes.
Because that soul knows that, oh, I've already come so far. Now I don't want marriage. I don't want kids. I don't want a career. I just want to go to that higher realm.
Only difference between this and the material realm ambition is that, so this is also ambition. So see, we worship the goddess. One of the most powerful forms of the goddess is Kameshwari. Kameshwari is what? The controller of all desires. Without desire, no realm is going to run. Whether it's physical, astral, this, that. She is the one who holds the reins of all desires everywhere. And only it is because of desire. You may be meditating in the Himalayas for 10,000 years, and suddenly there is this spark of desire that comes in. Immediately evolution. The world runs, cycles run because of desire. And she is the mother of all desires. She is the controller of all desires. She is the Maha Tripura Sundari. She controls everything.
So when you pray to her, your desires go away?
No, that's more complicated.
Another podcast.
No, it can go away. It can go away to other, but it's not my the reason I brought this up is because ambition in the spiritual field is perfectly all right. Greed is not. That's one thing that happens in the material plane very often, which is that I want it quickly, in double quick time. I'll use whatever methods I want, and I am greedy about it. Greed, dishonesty. You will not survive in the spiritual realm. You will fall faster than you can, because the beings you are dealing with, they know you inside out. They know you better than your parents know you. They know you better than you know yourself. And we are, human beings have the greatest capacity of self-delusion. I've seen so many characters like this, little experience, and then they'll delude themselves into I've reached this and that. But they know how much honest you are, how much you are making up stuff, how much it's your own pep talk, you're telling your mind that I am so and so, but what exactly is the reality, they know. So you cannot fool them.
Okay.
This and greed, if this is removed, ambition is perfectly okay.
What is the devil?
In Dharma, there is no devil.
Is there Satan at all?
There are powerful negative entities, but there is no one single leader of negative entity, no.
What does Dharma say about pure evil?
There are pure evil. Pure evil asuras are there. But eventually they will fall when the gods decide that they have had their run, and they see. That is why the avatara of Vishnu keeps happening. Vishnu has not said that after this I'm not coming. He will come when the necessity, when Dharma is completely trampled over. He will come with a tremendous force and he will destroy the Asuric forces at that time.
Why did God create evil in the first place?
Oh no, that's a very philosophical question. There are various answers possible. One of them is that because the world is made up of dualities, always. Everything will have a pair. There is day, there's going to be light, there's summer, there's going to be winter, etc. So this is sort of like the creative process that it is. That's one way of looking at it. So what I am talking about is that first understand that these things exist. Now, why do they exist? That's a question that is very difficult to answer, because there you enter into realm of philosophy and speculation, and you can choose which philosophy you like. You may believe in some other concept that, okay, there is no God who did not create evil, some other entity creates evil, etc. In our conception, no, there's nothing like that. In fact, the realm of the gods, the great gods, Shiva, etc., no negative entity even has the chance of entering even within a fraction of that space. They're way high up, way high up. All the negative, it's not that negatives do not exist, they exist, they're very powerful, and they cause havoc, as we find in the Puranas they have. But eventually they get overtrumped when they had their fill, and they gain the capacity to do evil by the worship of the gods. So in a way, the devatas whom we worship, they're very they're very high up. Very high means their realm and our realm, there's a lot of gap. In order to, the whole of dharma, whole of rituals, whole of mantra, whole of tantra, whole of upasana paddhati is a language of communication between your realm and that realm.
And with that, I will choose to stop this episode because I haven't covered everything I wanted to ask you, sir. And I feel for the next one, we'll actually get into the topics that I wished that we spoke about on this one. But I feel this is a great prequel to that episode about ghosts and monsters.
Okay.
So thank you again, sir. Great episode.
Thank you.
Any signing off notes for the audience who've listened to this particular one?
No, I hope you enjoyed it, and these are wonderful topics. And I believe that if you think and you ruminate over this, you contemplate, there are many things you'll understand, and hopefully these may inspire some people to actually enter into the path of sadhana. Forget the ghosts and all; those things are there, but focus on the devatas. If you focus on the devatas, it is a transforming experience as you keep going.
That's the hope from this podcast and this team as well, that people get more inclined towards meditation, prayer. What ancient India was originally known for, knowledge, which I feel is its own sort of meditation and prayer. So thank you again, sir. So it was fun, and looking forward to the next one.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir. As you can tell by this point, we had to split up this episode into two parts. If you've seen the first two episodes we've done with sir, trust me, you don't know what you're in for when it comes to the third one. It's about Bhoot, Pret, Pishach, etc. If you're from India, you'd understand what those words mean. That episode is extremely paranormal centric. All the episodes with Rajarshi sir are kind of paranormal centric, but that one will absolutely blow you away. That's all I have to say about the next one. Don't have much to say about this one. Just make sure you follow TRS on Spotify. Every episode's available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. Guest of the year for me. That's all I'll say. Thank you for listening in. Download Level to begin your own meditation journey now.